Football. That's right. NFL Straya. I am your co-host, Jaymz Clements. I'm a guy here in the studio. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty great. Top of the division. Just saying. What a world. On the other side of this here screen, it's a bloke. He's pantsless in the Giants subreddit right now, reveling in the downfall of yet another divisional rival coach. It is sometimes singing a band called The Ramshackle Army. He also might have scored more points today than his Eagles. He's my mate. He's your mate. It's Gaz. Gaz, what's going on?
Jim, I reckon I've got a feeling that this whole podcast is going to take be on a downward slope with both of our teams being half decent. Usually there's one's terrible and the other one's, he's getting through. But yeah, of course. Now we're both doing all right. Although, today's a bit questionable. But yeah, I had a good week of football.
Nice one. All right, this is our Week 10 wrap show. And I'll just say it. The lid's a little bit ajar. It's a little bit ajar. Not too much. It's not off. Just ajar. But we are going to wrap up all the news. We're going to wrap up Week 10. We've got some ENRs. We've got our weekly awards. And then we'll do our Week 11 picks, etc. in Thursday's Week 11 preview show. The fact that it's Week 11 just blows my mind. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused by the passage of time, but here we are. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 141 of NFL Straya. Let's go! Deal with it. Is this what I came here for? Oh, God. Yeah, hi. I'm Thursday Night Football, and you're listening to NFL Straya. All right, Gaz. What a week it was. It started horribly, but we got an absolute bevy of chaos games to sort of finish off the week. And then bookended basically by roughly the same game that happened on Thursday Night Football, but in a much better way on Monday Night Football, To the point where I think they had the exact same scoreline. But either way. Hey, the big news! Brian Daboll. He got fired.
Yeah.
So, it's probably for his insistence on trying to get Jackson Dart killed. That and the 4 blown double-digit fourth quarter leads, and the fact that he's 11-33, and somehow they're keeping the GM, the dumb one who did all the dumb stuff that traded away. Just went, Saquon, we don't need you. Hey, he's fine.
That's the third time they've done that. The last 3 times they've sacked a coach in season, they've kept the GM. They did it with Gettleman, all that sort of stuff. And then the next time, they've sacked them both. So, yeah, Shane's fucked. Anyway.
I hate it because, it's really easy, I reckon, just to go, right, well, that's the coach. It's all his fault. It's like, well, what did you expect him to do with, half a defense? Not much really going on the O-line. And basically, it's your fault that, this is what has happened with this team. It's the classic, was it the Bill Walsh line? If you want me to go shop, if you want me to cook the meal, you better let me buy the ingredients. And here we are. Brian Daboll, I'm not wildly convinced that he was actually a good actual coach or anything, but still, by the same token. I'm just sort of sitting here going, right, well, what happens now? What do you do? You've got your interim, you're sitting there just going, all right, what do the Giants do the rest of this season? Jackson Dart's out in concussion protocol. They've got Mike Kafka. This is just a Kafka-esque sort of situation, if you ask me. Because you've got the same GM who screwed up. What do you reckon? What do you do if you're the Giants, guys?
Well, you just put a fork in her for the season. You've lost your quarterback, you've lost your running back, you've lost your key wide receiver, and your defensive line is fine and signed for a couple of years. So if you decided that he was, as you said, going to get rid of Daboll for trying to kill the trying to run so many quarterback powers with this guy who's already been tested for 4 concussions, just fucking get rid of him. If you've made that call, why hang on? Dead man walking kind of shit. See you later.
Yep. Anyway, there you go. Fare thee well, Brian Daboll. We hardly knew ye. Actually, we kind of really knew ye, and I feel like you've spent a lot of your time trying to get QBs killed. Doesn't sort of matter which team. But anyway. The next one up, Joe Burrow. He's back to practice, at least in limited fashion, which is kind of nice. Don't know why. Looking to be back for Thanksgiving. They will be done by Thanksgiving, the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm a little bit confused, concerned. But by the same token, I mean, Joe Flacco just might keel over next week, and that might be all she wrote. So I guess you bring back Joe Burrow to sort of see what you've got. But you kind of know what you've got. You've paid $1 million, kajillion, bajillion dollars for what you've got there on offense. You know what you've got there. The big problem is obviously on defense. So I don't know. What is Cincy doing?
Yeah, go look. It's smoking through. They're cooked. Oh, no, they're not cooked. They're gonna limp through to a mediocre record, right? But we kept the Ravens in there for longer. Just kept them on the back burner, and now they're doing the run that we expected them to do. So, can Cincy get there? Probably not with that fucking defense, but it's gonna be good to see Smoking Joe back with something to prove, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think, if nothing else, it helps out fantasy owners with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Just saying.
Yep.
Otherwise, some sad ones. Marshawn Nealon died. That was a pretty crazy story. A self-inflicted gunshot wound after a police chase in North Dallas. Not great. Especially what it came after. He had a return, a fumble recovery touchdown 2 weeks ago, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah, that week.
Had also been dealing with, to the point where, so his girlfriend had called the police, and I think an NFL representative had also been in touch with the police, etc., about his mental health problems and stuff. So pretty crummy, pretty brutal, just really sad. And so it was good to see the NFL sort of at least acknowledge that and sort of do their moment of silence out of respect. Yeah. And then they had to sort of double up because the former NFL commissioner Paul Tagliabue also passed away this weekend. Struck down in his prime at 84.
At 84.
But obviously, I mean, this is a guy who oversaw basically the NFL becoming the corporate juggernaut behemoth that it is now, right? Sort of laid all the groundwork for Goodell to kind of swan in and just be even more bloody-minded and even more ruthless. And, he didn't have to do all the hard yards. Tagliabue kind of did. So, everyone sort of was very sad about that too, which tracks. But 84, I mean, he was also brought in during Deflategate and stuff like that. And just all these sorts of things where it's we screwed up. Dad, help.
Fix it.
Which is great. But anyway, other little bits and bobs. Alex Singleton, some slightly better news. I mean, slightly better news.
That was weird. Yeah.
Crazy. So he got a random drug test 2 weeks ago, and they found basically, some blood work stuff there, or they just went, wait a minute, we should get this checked out. Turns out he had a testicular cancerous tumor. Which they removed after after Denver beat the Raiders, which is just crazy. So the prognosis is excellent for him and his family, he says, and that's kind of cool. So not bad.
Funny about that. There's a few growths on their balls that some Raiders fans would like removed at this point in time as well.
And speaking of getting your junk out, Antonio Brown got extradited from Dubai for what his lawyer is it was all self-defense, that whole shooting thing. And the US State Department's well, we'll figure that out. So instead of you hanging out in Dubai, how about you come here and we'll figure this out. Some injuries. Garrett Wilson out 3 to 4 weeks with a knee injury, so didn't play this week. Jackson Dart obviously concussed. Garrett Wilson apparently dislocated a bit of his knee or something, and you're just Jesus.
Oofed.
It's bloody horrible. Obviously Dart was concussed this week, so it feels like he'll be out for one more, which is what a situation. Russell Wilson, the other Rusty in my life, that isn't the owner of the curtain in the gym. Already booed. Can you just, why bother? Now you've got a new interim head coach. Can we just skip over the bit where you pretend that Russell Wilson is good and just go to Jaymz? We all want Jaymz. We just give us our Jaymz. It's not hard.
Yep.
I don't ask for much. But. And the other one, which was sort of came out today, was that Seahawks center Jalen Sundell is out multiple weeks with a knee injury as well, which sort of sucks because obviously Darnold's been really good this year, and it's because he's had really solid protection. They've been able to run the ball because of that as well. And it's like, that's pretty shitty timing for the Seahawks. But anyway, anything else there, Gary, that you wanted to hit on?
No, not really. That's a good summary of the week. We should get into some games.
Oh, the Commanders dude who punched Amon-Ra St. Brown as well got suspended just before too, which is pretty funny.
Was that Payne?
Darren Payne, yeah.
Yeah.
just flipping out. Great job.
It was after he did the Trump dance though, right?
Yeah, that tracks. Let's do some game wraps from the weekend. Week 10 in the bag. Las Vegas. That was a horrible game. 7, Denver 10. Bonix
honestly
sucks. What are we doing?
That was a punisher. Like that was like punishment. I think you and I were both trying to watch it on Friday, and if you didn't watch it and you put yourself through the replay, then you've got all sorts of sadistic and masochistic tendencies because that was fucking gross and very, very difficult to watch.
It's not even like one of those ones, Denver's defense was just dominant. It was just a horrible game of football.
Yeah.
It felt like karmic punishment for a lot of the really good Thursday night football games we've gotten this year. So, if this only happens once every couple of months, I'm fine. Like, that's all right. Like, for all the other good ones we've gotten this year, I'll deal with that. And we just don't really have to talk about it, apart from the fact that Denver, I mean, what are they, 8-2? Could be 10-0. You watch a game like that, and I'm just like, I find it really hard to take you serious. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, look, there was the defense of Denver just kept early days. Like, I think they've had 6 sacks, and I think 5 of them were in the first half. So they just manhandled Geno. But then on the other side, Bonix could do like fucking nothing with it. It was just 3 and out. It
was brutal.
Yeah, it was just gross. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Let's move on.
Let's go to the German game. Yeah, Atlanta 25, Indy 31 in. We figured this out. It was in Berlin, not Munich. So, 31-25 in overtime. Hey, Jonathan Taylor, can you score like all of our points? What do you reckon? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. Also have one of the greatest running back games of all time. 244 yards, guys. 3 touchdowns. Just wow. Yep. If you were smart like me, you had the VC on him in Supercoach and then looped him with one of the existing players on your team who was on a bye. So you got his 95 Supercoach points, I think, doubled.
Jesus.
So that's the highest score this year by far. And
or you could be me, who's down the bottom of our fantasy league because someone drafted poorly on my behalf. And then this week, when I'm trying to, get back into the division, ran headfirst into the buzzsaw that is Jonathan Taylor. So, that's good times.
Couldn't be me taking down the only unbeaten team in our league. But anyway, that was a chaos game. And because this is the 12:30 game, our time. So I watched the replay in between the late afternoon and the night game. And I'm like, this is way more entertaining than basically what Sunday Night Football ended up being as well. So I ended up watching the full thing basically on the iPad while it was going, while I had Sunday Night Football on the big TV. I'm like, this is way better. Switched him around. I'm like, you just got demoted live football. You're going over here. This sucks. And chuck that up there. And it was immaculate. Penix was doing crazy stuff. Drake London still had 100 yards and a touchdown. They couldn't get Bijan going, really. Tyler Algier had the 2 touchdowns, and it's like, this is, again, a fantasy sort of problem. Or a betting problem if you had Bijan in a touchdown sort of multi or whatever, like me. But Algier gets 2 touchdowns in the red zone, sure. The big problem is Penix just looks out of control, worried, scared, running for his life a lot of the times. And it feels like sometimes we see QBs like that. And it feels like once they sort of get a little bit scrambly, they'll be like, oh, it's okay now, I figured this out. Once he starts scrambling, it's, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like the worst tendency is someone like Caleb Williams. But you watch that Williams game this week, and he had all of his scrambles and stuff. Yes, there was a couple of weird chaos ones in there, but it feels like at least he's kind of got some idea what he wants to do. Feels like Penix doesn't. This was the Danny Dimes bloody face game. That was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
Smashed his
Had
face.
lipstick on. Yeah.
Also, 3 fumbles, all recovered. So, everyone than Danny Dimes.
What is it like? And then a pick. So it's like, what is it? Something ridiculous like 7 fumbles in the last. No, what is it? 6 fumbles in the last 2 weeks,
That
or something like that, and 7 turnovers or something.
He's been super sketchy, but that's a great win for Indy. I mean, they just keep talk about like a team with a horseshoe up its ass. Like they've literally got a horseshoe as their logo, so this tracks again. They're 8-2, looking pretty great. So top of the AFC, you have these 3 8-2 teams, and I don't know. I only trust one of them. It's not these two that we've talked about. Jacksonville beat Houston. This was pretty funny. Because, wow, did the Jags jag this one, Gaz? 29-36. Jacksonville.
I thought, I'm watching the first half of this game, and I'm like, fucking Jimmy's just been ranting to the last 2 weeks. Has been ranting about this vaunted fucking, Houston defense, and he doesn't want to run into them in the playoffs. And then the half-assed Jacksonville Jags come in and show him what for. And then it was a different fucking last quarter, Jim. I was going to say different second half, but it was a different last fucking quarter.
Just the quarter.
26 points. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it was like if you take away like the what they needed to end it, the touchdown to end it, it was like they were holding on for that 1 point. But it was doing enough. Like, fuck.
So this was 17-0, right, for the Jags. They were crushing it. And then it was still 29-10 late. And then Houston scored 26 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like a little bit afraid of Mills Mafia. Just a little bit terrible. Woody Marks looked like he'd torn his Achilles or hammy and then came on and scored a touchdown. You're like, what the hell is going on here? This is nuts. And they scored 3 straight touchdowns in that fourth quarter. Then they had the fumble return to close out the game. Like the fumble return touchdown, which made it the 36-29. So, I don't know, this Texans thing, like Daniel Hunter, Will Anderson, you just have these dudes and they're terrifying when it's like a game like that. Trevor Lawrence couldn't do anything. They had this run down in the back end of the fourth quarter where it's like, run, pass. Run, pass. Run, pass. Guess what? All 3 of them were 3 and outs. It was just horrible gear. So, same old Jags.
I had the, in my other league, in the Dynasty League, we've got IDP. And I ran into JT in one league, and I ran into Danielle Hunter as the IDP for the other league, who just put up ridiculous stats because of his 3.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 4 QB hits to go with his 5 solo tackles. And you're like, oh, fuck, I'm getting slammed here. Anyway, that was a pretty awesome game.
It was crazy. It was very fun in the end because it felt like, as you said earlier, I was like, oh, this game's done, whatever. And then you're like looking back, you're like, wait a minute. What's happening?
I couldn't do shit in that last quarter.
Chicago 24, Giants 20. A little bit of snow in this one, which is very good. I'm like, ooh, it's November. It's cold. I don't know. So, obviously, Chicago is cold. Having lived in New York, you have that first weekend where you're like, oh, fuck, it's actually cold now. And, it's like a line. Just like the Chicago Bears are the line of demarcation in the NFL. There is like a date, basically, once it just gets cold, and then you go, oh, I guess we'll never be warm again for the next 3 months. Fuck. That's what it feels like it was in Chicago. And then obviously in Green Bay today, you saw just how cold it was there. You're like, oh, I love cold weather. Off we go. But this was another blown second half lead for the Giants. Jackson Dart looked awesome.
Yep.
At times he was like cruising through. Like some of the hits he was taking, though, you're like, that just seems like a lot. You're not Cam Scatterbo. Because his foot's still like embedded in the turf somewhere else. And like, then eventually he just caught one too many and was out. And now it's Russell Wilson coming in, getting laughed at, booed, everything. And Caleb Wilson.
But it was there was a double-digit fourth quarter lead, right? So that was the thing. And then it's where it all came down to Daboll's like giving up the ghost, Q in the rack, 7 points up. Was it 4th and 1? Mm-hmm. And on 4th and goal from the 1 and kicked the field goal penalty, which would have taken it to the half-yard line, just because Rusty's in there, fucking still
it's amazing.
Pussy's out and fucking kicks the field goal, goes, it's all right, we're up by 10. Sure enough, writing was on the wall there, Jim. Two touchdowns. See you later.
It's chaos, right? So Caleb Williams, I feel like this was like a perfect encapsulation of his chaosness. Because there were some throws where you're like, what the fuck was that? But then there was a couple of throws that were just incredible. And he had two like amazing ones, I reckon, that just got dropped by DJ Moore and Zacchaeus, right? Colston Loveland has been coming along really nicely. Their run game, they get Swift back, and that sort of combination of Swift and Monongai worked really well, I feel like. So it felt like the balance sort of kicked in. But by the same token, they were losing to the Giants heading into the fourth quarter. And only because the Giants this up did Chicago really kind of win. But at least you got like that little bit of hope. We're going to talk about Chicago again later, but anyone better than them probably beats them. But this is it. That's why they're the line of demarcation. So if they're shitter than them, they can beat them and they can come back. So this was a good win for Chicago. Baltimore 27, Minnesota 19. Lamar Henry, like, good to have them back and sort of looking okay if you're the Ravens. They couldn't really score, though. It was like a lot of field goals, and like they'd sort of just keep getting stopped by this Vikings defense. But then they had a fumbled kickoff, and boom. I think it went from 12 to 10 to 19 to 10. And you're like, aha! And then basically Baltimore just like ground them into dust. JJ McCarthy wasn't bad. Like, again, you know that you got Justin Jefferson. Just you can pepper him if you want. It's fine. Like no one's going to complain if you go to Justin Jefferson too much. I reckon.
No.
To the point where Jefferson ends up with 37 yards on 12 targets. Like, Jesus, it's like, keep going. Just, I don't care. Like, but can you just hit him a couple of times? JJ has a couple of interceptions. He only gets sacked once. It was like this sort of weird mix. It wasn't too bad. A little bit of scramble for him as well. But I don't know. I think the biggest story for me is that Lamar looked pretty good. Sort of a little bit of scrambling from him. He ended up with 36 yards himself. And, you know, Vikings sort of fought back a little bit towards the end, but Baltimore held them off.
I think the big storyline is that Ravens defense is getting healthy again.
Yep.
Right? Malachi Starks, I think that was his first interception. Their rookie, and Humphrey's back, and, you know, he's healthy, and they're just starting to get some of the old names on the Ravens defense are just starting to get a little bit more stable after the bye and ready to go. And that's what the Steelers didn't want to see, right? So you got Lamar back, you got a healthy defense, and now, you know, Vikings are in theory, should have been. They're 4-5 now, but everyone was thinking a playoff team after the, whatever were they, 13-4 or whatever it was last year. And the Ravens took care of them, right? And this is what you expected from the Ravens at the beginning of the season, where they just weren't there. And now it's the run home where everyone should start to be shaking in their boots a little bit.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's a bigger question about the Vikings when you watch both Danny Dimes and Sam Darnold be really good this year for teams that are really, really, really good. And they went, nah, we're fine with JJ McCarthy because Kevin O'Connell really just loves the kid. They hung out all last year. Is that? Do you think that was the best decision in hindsight? Anyway.
Well, at least give him a decent back. I mean, that's the problem is they didn't chase anyone half decent. And this is not a slight specifically on Wentz, but then they bring in Sam Howell? Was it Sam Howell they brought in first or someone like that? And like, you know what? Usually you get a veteran you're willing to pay, like overpay, like $8 or $9 million, and hope that they don't have to see the field. But if they do have to see the field, well, at least you've got someone to manage the games and mentor this first rounder that's coming off a fucking season-ending injury, right?
Go get Jaymz.
Season's gone.
Go get Jaymz. What are you doing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Cleveland 20, Jets 27. Chaos game engaged. The Jets haven't lost in 3 weeks. They had a bye last week, but they opened this game with back-to-back plays with return touchdowns. One was a kickoff return. The next one was a punt return.
Fucking crazy.
And you're like, how the fuck are the Jets up 14? Is it what? I think it was 14-0, maybe 14-3, but it was nuts. Like, Dylan Gabriel, he's just too small. Like, you watch this and you're like, what is going on with Cleveland? But Breece Hall was good. The Jets were fine-ish. The problem was, like, you're watching this game and it's like 17 to like 3 or whatever. or maybe 17-10. I can't even remember the actual score. But you just see the offense has scored 3 points so far. Like, their Jets shouldn't be winning, and they end up winning. And I don't know, Cleveland.
Just enough.
Their defense was like super duper solid, but the problem was the special teams. Like, it absolutely put them in a hole that their offense was so bad that it just couldn't dig them out of it, right? So you saw the the Jerry Jeudy touchdown from Dylan Gabriel was fine. They had the interception on Fields. That's fine. But the problem was the special teams just, if you give up 14 points, like almost literally the blink of an eye, you're cooked, mate. So the Breece Hall touchdown was really good on the reception. He just took it. That was awesome. Otherwise, that team stinks. So I don't know. Cleveland just couldn't run on them. It's a fascinating matchup though this week for the Jets and the Pats. So anyway,
yeah. Well, the Jets one once again. This was in I think it was well into the second half. Once again, the Jets were in negative net passing yards, right? Because there was 12 sacks in the first. Sorry, 12 sacks. 3 sacks with negative 12 yards in the first half, and Jussie Fields hadn't touched the ball because it was special teams were the punt return and the kick return. So ending up with 54 yards as a quarterback in the NFL, being paid a lot of money, like Jesus Christ.
It's amazing, isn't
but anyway, that's where we are.
There you go. Good job, Jets. 2-7. That's a bad win if that exists, right? Because now you've just sort of tagged yourself with another win. Cleveland stay 2-7. They, I don't know. Like, in terms of what those two teams need in the draft, it's a little bit different, I reckon, but still. Hey, New Orleans also got a win, which was very funny. 17-7 over Carolina. I didn't bet on Carolina this week. I'm just like, I can't do it. Like, against the Saints, I'm just not, and luckily I didn't. Carolina scored on their first drive and then did not score again in this game.
That's bizarre.
Rico Dowdle ran it in, gave it the one pump. That was it. No pumps. Aaron Jones did the no pumps as well.
Mm-hmm. And then almost at the same time too. Yeah, it was really weird. Both games were in the early slate, and both of them like first cut over to it almost. Yeah,
and like even the commentator, I think even what's your man Scott Hansen on Red Zone, just like this is happening almost. I mean, he just did it as well. It's like, all right, yeah, it is pretty funny, but we can all pump the brakes. Oh, Tyler Shuck looked pretty good. He shucked it up to Chris Olave. He caught it a couple of times.
Yeah, Olave's pretty good.
Olave's not bad. Rico, breaking my heart. The fact that they couldn't really run on the Saints just killed me. Was like, all right, if there's going to be one thing that they can do against the Saints, possibly just keep running Rico and Chuba in. No. And then it just all sort of fell apart. And they looked like dog shit. So, again, Bryce Young, too small. The biggest upset of the weekend. Miami 30, Buffalo 13, Gary. So, my Dolphins mate was just like, why are we even winning this game? I mean, he loved it because it was like sticking it to Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Division rival. He's like, yeah, sucked. If this ruins their season, awesome. And I'm like, oh, geez, that's pretty bloody-minded, but I'll pay it. This was incredible. Like this, especially, it came out during this game as well, right? The Buffalo had tried to trade for Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle?
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen? There's too many Jalens. Shakes fist at Cloud. We have too many Jalens and Jadens. Anyway, they tried to get Waddle from Miami, and Waddle beat their heads in this game. And it looked exactly like what Buffalo needed on the other side of the ball was Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 84 yards and a touchdown. Every time Tua just went hoik and threw it up. When it wasn't being intercepted, it was being caught by Jalen Waddle. Mikey McD came out after the game as well. It was like, hey, yeah, so remember those interceptions that Tua threw? I told him to do that. I'm like, just fucking throw it up, mate. Doesn't matter, mate. It's going to be fine, mate. Just fucking chill, mate. It's like, all right, arm punt. It's fine. But also maybe don't. Like, just saying, because a couple of them were fucking shocking. But anyway, like, Achane was awesome. He had 174 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he fucking gave him, 4, right? Like, that's the one at the end was just like, nah, I'm going to put an end in this so we can all go home.
It
like,
was.
Fucking see you later.
Because, like, Buffalo threatened it, like, time and time again. It's like, ooh, maybe here comes the comeback, right? And then that last one was just such an absolute dagger run by him. He just like, not great. So Josh Allen ends up with, one interception, but and a fumble that he lost. And it just felt so scrappy all game. Like, James Cook lost a fumble as well. And you're like, this is the team that you ought to be able to run on. Like, they've got a horrible run defense, Miami. And then the last 2 weeks, they've just gone, fuck your stats. We are now good against the run. You're like, what the hell, man? This makes no goddamn sense. And they just couldn't get anything going. Like, they tried James Cook early, and then they sort of went away from it. When it wasn't working, you're like, that's probably not what you should do. Probably run them in the ground. But I feel like the big problem, like, Josh Allen ends up with 306 yards. But the fucking lasting memory I have of this game is him just running around in circles.
Yeah.
Or around and round and round and round, and then finally has a completion. You're like, all right, I don't know if that is something that's replicable the rest of the game. And it wasn't. It was
not.
I mean, this is meant to be his like MVP coronation sort of game, and he was kind of shit. Like QBR of 28.7. It's positively Tua-esque. Like, jeez. Anyway, Buffalo 6-3, now staring down the barrel of like, fuck, how do we catch the Pats? Which I feel like is their natural state. So it's all good. Speaking of which, Pats 28, Tampa Bay 23. That was a good segue.
Jesus Christ.
What a win. Didn't expect it.
Weird.
So I picked them, but I was just like, I don't think they'll actually win. And that's now 7 straight. Pats are 8-2. The weirdness of this game sort of made me think, oh shit. There was a couple of worrying moments. 2 of them I'll give you guys. It was wet after it was beautiful and sunny. With the first drive for the Bucks, and they scored. They looked incredible. And then it started pissing down in rain. And I'm like, wait, does Drake May know how to play in the... Oh, fuck.
That was the first thing that I heard before this game. I was like, no one's ever seen Drake May play in the wet.
Well, he
and
sailed.
To be fair, as soon as he did, there was just balls sailing everywhere. They were like over people's heads. And like, oh, this isn't great.
There's some dudes about like 2 meters and shit. You're like, dude, what the fuck? And then it sort of like quit raining as hard, and he was fine. But then at the end of the half, because the Pats got the ball back to start the second half, Daboll's trying to be a bit smart. I love when he's a bit of a smarty pants. You might remember the time he completely fucking outfoxed Belichick. It was incredible. I mean, apart from the fact that we lost that game, and I believe it was in the playoffs. But the bit where he's like, we're going to burn this clock. It wasn't a purposeful kneel that we sort of used on a first down, but, you know, Drake May just sort of sat down. I'd sort of say that's not really too much. And it took them all the way down to fourth down, an amazing catch by Stephon Diggs to actually score the touchdown at the end. So thank fuck they did. Because by the time, like the second half, Trayvon Henderson just goes off his head. Absolutely fucking awesome. I'm like, that's the dude we were promised this year. I think I messaged you, right? I've been fucking in my brain watching the Trayvon Henderson this year just going, fuck,
please use him.
Please just, I hope they're just saving him for the second half of the season. Because what the fuck are they doing otherwise? And that's what this one looked like. Like, they still had some problems running the ball, but then he rips off these 2 massive touchdowns, including the one where he's looking at the sideline going, do you want me to, am I meant to score? Guys, am I, he's like so far ahead of these fucking defenders. He's almost like stopped to take a phone call. He's like, do you want me to score here or not? Like, what do you reckon? Goes in, and thank fuck he did, because we let Tampa Bay score basically quick smart. They had an onside kick. Diggs got fucking nailed on the reception on the onside kick as well. I'm screaming at the 2 squids to get out of the road of the TV as this is all going on. But there was like some pretty other worrying Pat stuff, but the fact that they still fucking won this, I'm just like, this is great. This is like the soft schedule. It's like, yeah, but the teams that are good that we've played, we've beaten now. Buffalo, Tampa Bay. Like, I still reckon we should have beaten that fucking Steelers team in week 5, whatever the fuck that was. Week 3, whatever. Anyway, Egbuka sunned the secondary. The secondary is still a bit of a problem outside of Gonzalez, but the run defense is still fantastic. I think they did let Sean Tucker get to 50 yards, though, so I think that streak is over. But
breaking that record,
Otherwise...
But I mean, you still have to think, like, Tampa Bay, look, on the flip side of that, like, you are a decent team. It's not just look at what they are. And so, you know, they're surprising everyone. And now we can just admit that decent opposition. And Tampa Bay still, with all of the injuries, still keep putting up a fight. Like, Baker walked away with 273, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, without Godwin and fucking Evans, and without Bucky Irving still in there. And so they got 3 major weapons out on offense. Egbuka's keeping them in shit. Rashad White's doing his best, but he's no Bucky Irving at this moment. And so if they can get back, if they can stick to this, look, they're going to win that division. Who the fuck else is going to take them on? So if they get some healthy dudes back at the right time, then these playoffs could be really interesting for the Bucks.
Could be. I don't know. Baker just sort of feels hurt to me. I don't know. He's not quite as spry as he was earlier on in the season. Like another quarterback that I'm going to talk about in a second. Hey, Arizona got absolutely shit pumped by Seattle, 44-22. That's not even close to how much of a shit pumping this was. It was 35-0 in the second quarter. It was an absolute laugher. Literally, like JSN out of the gate, as per usual, and then back-to-back like defensive touchdowns. You're like, oh, this one's over. And it was.
Yep. Yeah, so maybe all of that love, maybe the reason why Jake Brisket is a fucking lifetime backup is because he's not a long-term starter, Jim. Get all the good value out of one game. It's all the positive vibes and like, hey, how good was that? High five, you got us over. We're going to name you the starter. The very next week, back to reality.
This is almost exactly what happened when he was the mooted starter for the Patriots. Last year, I think he played 8 games in the end. But yeah, it's just like the wheels fall off and you're like, yeah, nah, not it. We love you. Seem like a good dude, but anyway.
Yeah.
Seattle look unreal. Defense is fantastic. They're rocking. All of these late afternoon games are a bit of a laugher too. 42-26, the Rams kicked the shit out of the Niners. Very nice. Love to see that. I think that's 25 passing touchdowns now for Stafford, who I think has jumped into the lead of the MVP candidacies right now.
He's on target for something like 47 touchdowns or something like that. That's fucking ridiculous.
It's not bloody bad. Adams just keeps catching touchdowns. Like, that's pretty cool if you've got him on your fantasy team like me. Puka's just also... What did he end up? He ended up with 64, but the touchdown as well this week. They kind of just were able to chill entirely in the second half. Like, it was crazy. It's like 21-7 in the first half, and then away they went. San Francisco, like, Mac was fine, but just... he still had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the interception, fumble from Juwan Jennings, like, it just really hamstrung them. And Kyron Williams ran into, and, yeah, Rams are fucking terrifying.
Yep.
Detroit 44, Washington 22. This was a laugher as well. Just woof. It's amazing this is the same score line as the Seattle Cardinals game, but
yeah,
it's 25-10 at the half.
Game over by halftime.
Like, Gibbs was just off his fucking head. 142 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 receiving. He was unreal. Montgomery just sort of went in and spelled him at times, and Jamo came back with a massive game for Jamo, and you're like, that's good. Like, get go. And obviously, as we said, like, you had just like dudes on Washington, a couple of your veteran guys just like doing dumb shit and fucking up. Good job. And you also had like what? Booze coursing out of the stadium, which is pretty funny. Last 2 games, Pittsburgh 10, Chargers 25. Pittsburgh, it wasn't even that close. Pittsburgh in an iceberg.
Nah.
Brutal game for the Steelers. They had Juzzy like worried kind of early, and then he sort of figured it out. It almost felt like, right? Because then they sort of rolled. They just went, wait a minute. If we just keep running Kamani Vidal at you guys, then I can throw it to Ladd McConkey again. Maybe to Quentin Johnson. Gadsden went out injured, which was a bit of a tough one, but he was like catching everything early. And they just started fucking picking him apart. And you're like, that doesn't feel good for the Steelers from here on out, because Rodgers was kind of shit. And you're like, yeah. This is what I was alluding to, right? About other quarterbacks who don't look quite as spry as they did early on. He just looked a little bit fucking old.
Yeah.
And this was in LA. It's not even a cold weather game. Like,
don't get me wrong. That Chargers defense that's what's kept him in it. So it's no it's no rubbish defense. So it is a stingy defense, but it wasn't enough for Aaron to do what he has been doing, and that is just enough, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Anyway, what was it? Cedric Wilson, I think, or who dude who scored like the last, Cecil Wilson or whatever, who scored the touchdown. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, final game of the week. It was Philly Green Bay. As I said, bookending the weekend of football with the exact same 10-7 game is just crazy. One was a lot better than the other, but still just as head scratching at times because Philly win it 10-7 over the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau and almost shit down their leg at the very end. And it took a Brandon McManus shanked field goal to not go to overtime. So 0-0 at halftime, Gaz. First time in the last 2 years we've had no score in the first half. Talk us through this game and your emotions.
It was really weird. it was fucking strange. Came out, Eagles off the bye, and thought with Jordan Love, we've got a little bit over them in the last few weeks, and there's also a bit of last 2 years. There's also a bit of spite within the tush push, and guess what they did in the first drive, Jim? And guess what they did? A false start that wasn't called. And then guess what the Eagles did? A false start that wasn't called. And all it did was make social media blow up about how terrible the play is and blah, blah, blah. And everyone's doing the same thing. And let's all pat ourselves on the back. Anyway, so the Eagles got a nice stop and then moved the ball down and then fumble. And there from Jalen Hurts, nice play by Green Bay. And then almost immediately a fumble back, saved on it from Jordan Love, and then it was scrappy for the whole rest of the time. There was very defensive, so like a lot of good stops, a lot of strong tackles. The running game for either team didn't get going, but the weird thing in all of it was, if you look at the stat line for the Green Bay defense, there was no sacks, no QB hits of Hurts, who notoriously takes hits and sacks, but they just did enough in coverage. The ground was slippery, you just saw people sliding all over the place because it was Green Bay in this time of year. Eagles got up a decent amount, that 10 zip into the last quarter with a nice bomb to Devontae Smith, and then all of a sudden Jordan Love started to loosen up and move them down the field, punch them in. We're like, oh, fuck, here we go. Nice, held them defensively. And we get the ball back, Jim, and try and run out a bit of clock and end up into fourth down. So everyone is just assuming with 30 seconds to go, you're going to punt the ball, try and get a coffin corner, pin them to the 2, and then make it really hard. But no, Nick Sirianni, as you would know, Nicky Sriracha, as I sent you the text message about him trying to galaxy brain it, calls a fourth down pass down the sideline to AJ going, you know what? I'm going to show them. I'm going to go for the dagger play again and end the fucking game, move on. And it was a dropped reception, Jim. So all of a sudden they've got the ball back with only 35 yards in 20 seconds, massively doable to get within McManus's field goal range. They end up getting to the point where it was a 64-yarder or something like that, in the cold at Lambeau. He's not going to make that. And so it ends up, we walk away with it. But fucking hell, that could have very easily gone the wrong way. And old mate no mates would have been Nicky Sriracha 100% for not getting in the way of Patullo and saying, no, you're not fucking calling that. We're calling a punt.
I love it. I mean,
anyway, it's just fucking weird.
I also love that he got a free practice kick because the refs didn't jump in front of it, which is pretty funny. Sriracha was off his head about that.
Well, so that's worth mentioning. So they were setting up for the 64-yarder. The Eagles call a timeout. The refs don't get there in time to stop him kicking it, so he kicks it. They realize that he's about 5+ yards short, and they've got 5 seconds on the clock. So they move the offense back out there and have Jordan Love try and throw a quick out to at least get another 4 yards with 2 seconds. Gets to 2 seconds on the clock, but it was incomplete over the receiver's head. And then all of a sudden they're back exactly where they were with 3 less seconds, trying to kick the same kick, and that's where the shank came in. Yep. So it was way more entertaining than the fucking Raiders Broncos, because there was actually shit happening. And the defensive line, the guys who we picked up in the off week, Jalen Phillips in his first game for the Eagles was fucking awesome. Look, Micah Parsons was great. He didn't get in this on the stats, didn't get any sacks or anything like that. But he was chasing Jalen around all over the place. He was on his toes. So anyway, 7-2 for these Eagles, and a 4-game lead in the division. And then all of a sudden, the Packers are not so much that Super Bowl favourite that we had them in week 1.
Exactly. Talk about them again in a second. Nas for this week. Daboll deserved it, Gaz. Nah.
Yeah, he was definitely, mate. Well, 4 seasons in a row. You make the playoffs and make Coach of the Year, and then the next 4 seasons are at least 2-7. Like crazy.
Brutal.
How he didn't get it, didn't get the bullet. Like literally, it was the you get a first round quarterback and it buys you some time. But even that, couldn't get him enough this year.
Well, as I said earlier, it's because he keeps trying to get his QBs killed. Like this happened with Josh Allen, and it's now happening with Jackson Dart. It's like I don't want him near any QB. Like that's horrifying. Speaking of which, Bills, are they like just not good? They've lost 3 of 5. They're kind of a mess. All of those fumbles. But I guess more pertinently, do you believe they're actually a Super Bowl contender at this point? Yeah, no.
I think we're in this point in the season where everything's getting a bit clunky in the middle. People are a bit banged up. People are getting like they're not hitting their straps. There's a few teams that are getting right, like the Ravens. There's a few teams that are just hitting that little patch. We've had a couple of little snafus from the Colts. Let's see what Danny Dimes is playing. The Bills are a little bit sketchy here. We've got Tampa Bay, who are a contender but banged up. 2 weeks is a little bit, 2 to 3 weeks is a little bit on the nose, but we'll see what happens in the next couple. Who have they got this week?
Bills. Who do they play?
Tampa Bay. I knew it was someone spicy.
Yeah,
so all of a sudden, that game is looking fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's at home as well. That actually does throw back. Jez did send through a nah last week. Hey, buddy, got a nah. Is Bills versus Chiefs the best / most intriguing modern day rivalry? Yeah, nah. And to which I'm like, Rams-Niners is really fun. Like, they're getting to these points. Like, I think it's probably between those two. Because in terms of modern rivalries, like Bills-Chiefs, it feels like every time it's like Bills is like, this is our year in the playoffs, and then the Chiefs go, shut up, idiot, and beat them. Which is pretty funny. And like it almost sort of rolls into this point, well, is it really a rivalry if the Chiefs just always win in the playoffs when it really matters? Whereas like at least Rams-Niners, I think it was so lopsided for ages, and then the Rams sort of like have gained more of the ascendancy, and it sort of flipped a little bit. I think that's probably one of the better ones, right? Like, are there any other ones that sort of stick out to you? Like, I think, to be honest, Eagles-Packers is pretty fun as well, because, like, those two teams...
Yeah. Well, that's got spicy. Oh, that's just, I mean, yeah. And obviously, I'm excluding division rivalries here. Yep. But obviously, there's the Eagles-Niners, because they've come, NFC Championship games. And the same thing's going with the Vikes. Eagles, right? Because we had that one where we had to play them at home. They've come to our home in the NFC Championship games in the 17 Super Bowl and decided to do skull on the Rocky statue and put a jersey on that backfired. Like, there's a few of those little ones. What was I gonna say? Lions Niners are starting to get a little bit spicy when they're up. Like, there's a few that are perennial like contenders right now that you can see some of these. I guess that's what makes the Chiefs Bills rivalry, is because they are both perennial contenders. You would think that same thing with the Ravens, but they always have the down season every couple of years usually because of injury, not because of talent. So yeah. I would say that Bills Chiefs is probably the biggest, most consistent, because of some of the off years that we've had from either the Rams, where they've had a very quick rebuild, or the Niners when they have that half the team on IR season. Yep. Whereas just the Bills Chiefs just seem to both always be there.
Always delivers. Hey, is Chicago good, or are they still just like my line of demarcation? Does that still ring true? Yeah, no.
Well, yeah. I mean, they almost shit the bed against, they were losing by double digits against the team that's just fired their coach for valid reasons, right? Like, Any other team would have kept them away, kept them at arm's length, but it was fucking Brian Daboll and that Giants team. So yeah, they could have lost to a way worse team today or this weekend. So yeah, they are just that middle of the road. Ben Johnson's offense is starting to click. First year, getting more plays, as we've spoken about, longer and longer play sheet. Next year is when it all clicks, Jim.
Yeah, I like that. The thing is, I feel like I look at the NFC and, yeah, they nearly lose to the Giants. But there's also, because they're currently, I think, 6th, right? So they're 6-3. Because the Packers lose, they're 5-3-1. They've got the same record as the Detroit Footballing Lions at the top of the NFC North. And all the other teams sort of below them, you're kind of like, oh yeah, Packers are probably better than them. The Niners, are the Niners better than the Bears? Probably, but they've got no dudes left. They're probably better than the Panthers. I think they play Minnesota soon as well, and that's going to, I think it might be this week. Yes, it's this week in Minnesota. That's going to be a fascinating and probably the best game of the week, maybe. Anyway, I think they're good-ish. But I reckon they are the perfect line of demarcation. Simple as that. But 6-3 looks pretty nice. So good job for your first year. Hey, should my lid be ajar for the Patriots? 7 straight wins. I don't like to count other wins ahead. 8-2 though. But for the next 3 weeks, they have the Jets, Cincinnati, and the Giants, which isn't exactly a murderer's row. They have the bye. Then they play Buffalo again at home in Foxborough because we beat them in Buffalo. All I want now, though, I don't want the lid to be off because all I want them to do for the rest of this fucking season is just make the playoffs and don't get Drake May hurt. Some of the shit that he still sort of cops every so often, you're like, fuck, Jesus. He's the only reason you're in these games on offense. It's not Travion Henderson. The defense is fantastic against the run and is being shredded otherwise. I don't know. Just protect Drake May. Who knows how far they're fucking going to go. Just make the playoffs. That's a hugely successful season. They've already, I think, gone over their win total over-unders. It's either 7.5 or 8.5. That's awesome.
Oh, it would be, yeah, for sure. Yep.
What do you reckon? Should it be a jar?
Yeah, mate. Who are you against? Think about this. I think put it that way, right? Don't think about what you're aiming for in your first season. Think about the Chiefs are vulnerable. The Bills are vulnerable. You've already beaten them. The Ravens are a couple of injuries away from returning back to where they were. The Denver is sketchy from week to week. The Steelers are barely passable. Who's undefeated or who's not beatable in the AFC?
Yeah. The Chiefs still just scare the shit out of me. I reckon they're just going to win.
Of course.
Anyway. Yeah. Good Bloke of the Week award. Who are we buying a beer for this week? Rico Dowdle getting the 1 pump, 0 pumps. Aaron Jones doing the same. I enjoyed that. The good bloke might actually be Keegan Michael Key, who called in to the Panthers during the week and donated $15,000 to Rico's charity as well, which is pretty cool. But also did the this is how the rule is, no more than 2 pumps, and off they went. Enjoyed that. That was very cool. Buy Rico a beer. Buy Keegan Michael Key a beer as well. Gronk is going to retire a Pat.
Nice.
So they're expediting this because I think once he's Hall of Fame eligible, etc. I think that's when Robert Kraft was going to actually sort of do all this sort of stuff, but they're going to expedite that. I think he had he donated $1.5 million to a playground in Boston as well. So they're like, geez, so that's literally just good bloke. DeMarcus Lawrence, dude had 2 touchdowns in his career up until this week. He had 2 in the first half against the Cardinals. I love that. They actually brought that up on the broadcast. I'm like, that is sick. So in 148 games, he had 2 touchdowns. And now he had 2 in that one game. And probably my favorite quote of the week was when asked about the injury that Herb's had. Asked about an update. He said, I do have an update on his physical status. He is still a beast. I love Jim Harbaugh. I just love that's just awesome. That's just gnarly gear. Yeah. Any other good blokes you want to add?
Nah, I think it's saving it all for the flogs, mate. Right. It's there's been a few.
Couple of flogs. Russell Wilson, old mate, no mates. Getting booed as soon as he comes in. Still amazing. On the road in Chicago, getting booed. That's incredible. The Minnesota O-line. 8 false starts this week. That was all mate, no mates, because there was this weird combination of whinging from everybody to the point where John Harbaugh came out and was like, yeah, no, we didn't cause all that. You guys did. You can bitch and moan all you want, but you were the guys who false started. We're okay over here. You worry about your own stuff, right? Which is pretty funny. Good on you, John Harbaugh. And then outside of that, who else did I have? Oh, yeah. The Lions OC, offensive coordinator no more, John Morton. Dan Campbell just went, yeah, nah, that's my job now. Blow it out your nose. Sucked in. And just basically kicked him to the curb. And you're like, that's just pretty unfair. But anyway, good on him for taking all the credit for an awesome, explosive, massive win over the Commanders. Good job there. Dan Campbell for kicking your man, John Morton, to the curb.
My flog of the week, the first one, obviously the obvious one. I can't believe I'm staying in the NFC East for both of these, but it's got to be Brian Daboll, right? He's gone from look at all the coach of the years who've turned to shit, right? You've got Stefanski's not going too good. Yeah, Brian Dabolls of the world, and then he's just turned to nothing after that. And there was always the excuse. There was always the injury, or we've got to go through a rebuild, or it was Gettleman getting rid of it, not keeping players and all that sort of stuff. This year, waited too long to bring Dart in. He's the one who sees him at practice. Dart comes in, pretty awesome. And then he just showed just chicken shit vibes this week. You've got nothing to play for, Jim. You're at the 1. You're at the half-yard line. Punch the bastard in and pack it up, go home, and at least show some pride. Because a couple of weeks ago, with the big win of the year where you took out the Eagles, there were all of these vibes around New York. It was all the kids coming in and even the Eagles said, these guys are causing chaos in terms of just the vibes that they bring at home, how much they've got this crowd pumped. And within 2 weeks, you're fucking done, right? So, him. And the other one, while I'm sticking in the NFC East, the Commanders running back Chris Rodriguez. Did you see this? Where he's got the touchdown in the end zone and spiked the ball at a wall, narrowly, like pitched it full pelt at the camera woman who's dived out of the way, nearly decapitated her, as Total Pro Sports is calling it. Decapitated the camera woman. You're like, that's not how you win friends, Jim. You're already down. Well, I think they were down. They just scored. It was 22-3, and that took them up to 22-9. But you're convincingly down. You don't take out the fucking staff on the sidelines.
I'll pay that. I guess one of the other good blokes as well, Jalen Phillips and Sauce Gardner, having just been traded. I think pretty crazy especially with Sauce Gardner. He's just like, I was like hanging out, preparing for the Browns, and then I'm in Germany. It's like, all right, geez. And Jalen Phillips was really good, really good for the Birds. So anyway,
and also I should have said Brandon Graham came back. He only played 6 snaps. BG came back and played first game back for the Eagles this week. So got to give it to BG.
Nice. Obviously, all the Commanders dudes were just punching Amon-Ra, which is fine. I have a crack. That's all right. Just, seriously, they were actually calling it out on the broadcast as well. It's like, this is not what your vets are meant to do. This is the dumbest thing ever. It's like, yeah, that's how this Commanders season is sort of going. Just saying. Outback Takehouse. It is Tuesday at Outback. And you know what that means? Well, this morning had the squids out in the backyard just beating a couple of possums to death with their cricket bats. Boom. Goes straight in the ground all night, overnight. Possum hungy. Beautiful. Tender as. Bit dirty, but she'll be right. Nice and tender too. Only at Outback. And today's Flame Grilled take is Green Bay are very clearly frauds, and Jerry Jones was right. Only at Outback. Who needs Micah Parsons?
I'm so interested to see this Cowboys defense after trading for defensive tackles and all this sort of stuff to shore up the run game and all that sort of jazz, and saying some late moves. It'll be very interesting to see, considering it's almost a wash in terms of they've got the players they've got plus a 1 for Micah Parsons, and who else they get away? Maisie Smith. So it will be interesting to see how it goes, because Micah Parsons is slipping down the old defensive player of the year ranks, as he's putting pressure on people but not hitting that board, and it's the stats boards that get you over the line, right? So, mate, they've lost some shocking games, like Browns and who was it last week? Was it Panthers last week?
Yes.
No, did I make that up?
Yeah.
Was it Panthers? And now the Eagles, and it's the first time. Sorry, this is the first time in 12 years that they've lost 2 home games in a row.
That's
the last
crazy.
time was against the Eagles in like 12 years ago, 2013 or something like that. So Lambeau Field has been a bit of a bit of a fortress and not so much more.
Yeah.
So mate, the Packers have got some work to do.
Nice one. Little Aussie battlers of the week. Obviously, Jordan Mailata had a couple of rough ones today against the Packers.
Yeah, a couple of false starts. Yeah.
Not great. There was also, I love every time. I can't get enough of not called false starts on tush pushes. Like, feed that to my veins. It's the best. I'm like, you flog refs. You know you should be looking for it as well. And the Eagles are just going to keep doing it. Guess what? I guess the other one was Jeremy Crawshaw had a bit of a rough one. He absolutely shanked a punt back on Friday morning, which wasn't great. I think he had 7 total punts overall, 1 for touchback. But, yeah, one just literally came off the side of the boot. It's just like, oh, geez. We've all had that happen to us in footy. Otherwise, bit of Captain Fantasy for this week. I'll tell you what, Gaz. You better be listening to Jim Does Supercoach. Because your mate Jim, when it comes to NFL Supercoach, is currently ranked 128 in the world.
Wow.
Overall. I was ranked 87 this week with my score of
Holy shit.
654. So I'm doing something right. It was a good turnaround from last week, which is a bit shocking. But 128th overall out of 32,724 teams. So thumbs up for your mate Jim. And on top of that, in our fantasy league, the NFL Straya Legends League, I took down the unbeaten Tavis. That's right. Not all heroes wear capes, Gaz. Some of them have red beards as well. Like,
there you go.
That was an amazing run by me. He obviously, poor Tavis, I think, just copped one of those random, just crummy weeks. He's 9-0. Now 9-1. But copped a Bo Nix Barry Crocker shocker. Also copped the Cleveland defense not being able to stop the Jets out of nowhere. AJ Barner scored 0.3 of a point. And even Rashid Shaheed didn't do much for Seattle because on bye he had Javonte Williams, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Garrett Wilson's injured, Justin Fields he didn't start, didn't score that many points anyway. So yeah, I managed to get up, which is pretty good. Very happy with that because needed to win. So basically stay up the pointy end. How did you go, Gaz?
Oh, rubbish, Jim. As I said, I've got the Rico Dowdle Chuba Hubbard double in there at the moment and needed it and ran into Jonathan Taylor. So that whole fucking quiet week for the Panthers running backs, and JT went off his head. So that was me. I'm done skis. And
I think Jez has now lost 3 straight, looks like, with his DAC Tour team. I think he got beaten by Josh this week, the Bears in Purgatory.
There you go.
Yeah, but anyway, good stuff. It's getting very, very, very competitive in the NFL Straya Legends League. But there you go. Good stuff. All right, that's it for the wrap show for this week. We'll be back on Thursday for the bit where we do all the picks. And that's, I don't know, going pretty well. I think we managed to split them this week because I had Green Bay, so I think we went 2-2. So I think, yeah, I haven't actually updated that last game.
Which one what did you change? Because we only had 3 different I think it was last week.
It was Pats in the end, I think, for the... I want to say Pats for the Friday video.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Which is pretty fun. So good job by them. Otherwise, make sure you're following us on Facey, Twitter, IG, TikTok, YouTube. Plenty of videos throughout the week. Lots of other fun, dumb stuff left, right, and centre. You can check out Jim Does Supercoach and NBA Straya as well, of course. Rate, review, star, subscribe across all of your podcast apps, wherever you listen to stuff. Whatever your streaming platform of choice be, get around it. I believe the Thursday show is also a video podcast on Spotify, so keep an eye out on that one. Very nice. Big thanks always go to House Hats for the intro and outro song. They rule. And yeah, there you go. Gaz, what are you going to plug?
Nothing much except for cheesesteak tipping, as always, every week. Gino's getting back in there. There was a post this afternoon. I know he tagged us in it, but I haven't read it yet. So, yeah, by the time you've got a couple of days to get your tips in. Obviously, when we do the tipping show on, when's that? Thursdays, you'll be able to ignore everything that we say. Although Jim has won 2 cheesesteaks in his in this season. And get your tips in. Get a free cheesesteak from Gino.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Right. All right. Well, that'll do us. We will catch you on Thursday for the Week 11 Picks and Preview show. It's a quick little hitter, so go check that out. All right. We'll catch you then, you dickheads.
See yous.
Later, hosen.